How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Infinite Sports. I'm your host, Kenneth Grunfelder. To recap last night's game between the Yankees and the Tigers, I was in attendance for this game, of course, and wow, this was one of the worst losses I've seen in person in a long time. Might have been the worst loss I've seen since going to Yankee games, as far as I can remember. I mean, there are definitely some games that are up there with this one. The two losses that I went to in 2021 come to mind. The Jared Walsh grand slam. Now, I was on my way home. We left before the ninth inning, so I wasn't sitting in my seat for that. I was in the passenger seat of my uncle's car going home when that was transpiring. But a few days later, I did go to the collapse in the ninth inning against the Mets. Jose Peraza had a bases clearing double. The Mets scored a bunch of runs there. I forget what the final score of that game was, but those two games come to mind. And there was definitely some losses between the 2013 to 2015 time frame, but in recent memory, and if it wasn't for Aaron Judge's grand slam last year against the Mets at Citi Field and the Yankees lost 9-7, that could have been up there as well because Garrett Cole got pounded by the Mets in that game. But yeah, this is definitely up there. This is near the top, if not at the top, because I saw probably the worst inning ever since I can remember going to Yankee games. Tigers scored 9 runs in the seventh inning. But before we get to that, there was a lot of good things. There was a lot. There were good vibes up until that point, though, because Aaron Judge in the bottom of the first inning hit his 300th and 59th career home run for his career, and that passed Yogi Berra, fifth on the Yankees all-time home runs list. And I know I feel like I kind of glossed over it when he tied Yogi Berra against the White Sox, but I mean, what an achievement! Because now he's up there with guys like Joe DiMaggio and obviously Babe Ruth. He's got ways to go before catching Babe Ruth. He probably won't even catch Babe Ruth, but Yogi Berra, Joe DiMaggio, you got all these guys up there, and Aaron Judge is in that list with all of those guys for home runs. Yeah, I mean it's unbelievable, and he could pass Joe DiMaggio this year. He's three behind Joe DiMaggio, so before you know it, he could be fourth on the Yankees all-time home runs list. It's what an achievement, and that got things off to a very quick and fast start against Cameron Mize for the Tigers. But the Yankees really didn't hit last night. Cody Bellinger then tacked on another run, solo home run, his 28th homer of the season to make it 2-0. But in between that, in between the Judge homer and the Bellinger home run, Gleyber Torres made his return to the stadium for the first time since signing over with the Tigers. He had a double in the top of the first inning, got a nice hand from the crowd, and then there was a tribute video later on in the game, and he came out of the dugout and waved to the fans once again, got a nice hand. So that was nice to see with Gleyber Torres. Good tribute video by the Yankees. And look, I know again he was a guy that made bad plays in the field. His base running at times was not great, but he did have some very good moments with the Yankees. And like I said in yesterday's video, he did finish off his Yankee career strong with how he hit down the stretch and into the postseason as the Yankees' leadoff hitter. So, and when he first came up, like I said, he was very good. So it was just in between that. It was kind of rough, but hey, it is what it is. But he got a nice hand. Also, Anthony Rizzo was at the game last night, chugging a Bud Light. He got a very nice hand. He actually did announce his retirement, or the Cubs announced that he's going to retire. I guess he's going to sign a one-day deal with the Cubs to retire as a Chicago Cub. Did begin his career with the Padres, won the World Series with the Cubs in 2016, caught the ball from Chris Bryant to get the final out, and he stuck the ball in his pocket. Four-time Gold Glove Award winner, won a Platinum Glove in 2016, three-time All-Star, Silver Slugger Award winner in 2016, and he also got the Roberto Clemente Award in 2017. Spent 3 seasons with the Yankees, and unfortunately, the trajectory of his time with the Yankees took a hit when Fernando Tatis ran into him, and he was just never the same after that concussion. And that's why he had to retire at age 36. So it's an unfortunate ending to his career, but very solid career. Was really, was a solid player, and congratulations to him on a great career. But yeah, it was very nice to see him last night at the game, all smiles. Again, I got a nice hand from the crowd. So again, the vibes were good. Vibes were good. Judge homered, Bellinger homered, and then back to the game. Trent Grisham, robs Trey Sweeney of an extra base hit. I don't think it would have went over. It would have hit, I guess, just off the top of the wall. But Trent Grisham made a nice play on that, robbing Trey Sweeney. So everything was great. Will Warren was pitching good. Things were great. And then the Tigers ended up tying it on a 2-run homer by Parker Meadows. Will Warren led off the top of the fifth, or not the top of the fifth. Well, didn't lead it off, but he did walk Spencer Torkelson, because I think Torkelson was the second batter of the... No, actually, no, he was the first batter of the inning. It was a long at-bat. Spencer Torkelson ends up walking, and then he gives up a home run to Parker Meadows. He kind of leaves that out and up over the plate, and Parker Meadows, puts it into the right field seats for a 2-run homer. So at that point, I wasn't feeling good. The vibes kind of took a little bit of a tailspin after that. But then, the Yankees looked like they were going to respond. Bottom of the fifth inning. This was really the turning point of the game. Bottom of the fifth inning, Jazz Chisholm leads off the inning with a single. At first, I thought, all right, that was a sure hit, but then I saw the right fielder coming in, and I thought he was going to catch it, but he let it drop right in front of him. So Jazz made it to first base on a single. And then Austin Wells singles. It goes off the glove of Gleyber Torres into right field for a base hit. So now you got 2 guys on and nobody out. And who comes up to the plate? Anthony Volpe. And I was at the game with my uncle, and he was saying, you're going to have him bunt here. And Volpe's, trying to lay down a bunt. First pitch is up and in. He almost gets hit by the pitch. And he's still trying to lay down a bunt. Second pitch, I believe, was a ball. Then he fouls off the next one. And then he bunts again, and he bunts it to the third baseman for an out. And you could tell throughout that whole at-bat, Volpe was not going to be able to lay down a successful bunt. He wasn't. So at that point, I'm just like, but prior to him fouling out, he didn't strike out, but he hit it to the third baseman. I was saying, you know what, just try to hit the ball. Just try to hit the ball. If you strike out, whatever. Just try to put the ball in play. Try to get a base hit, something. Come through, get a big hit. And he couldn't do it. And he really heard it from the fans. He really heard it from the fans. Another rough night for Anthony Volpe. So he didn't get it done. Then Ryan McMahon comes up. He strikes out. So now Trent Grisham comes up to the plate. And it's 3-0. It's 3-0. One more pitch and Aaron Judge comes up. One more pitch out of the zone. If Grisham gets on, you got Aaron Judge coming up to the plate. And Grisham swings, and he flies out to Parker Meadows to end the inning. At that point, that was the turning point in the game. That was really the turning point in the game, was that moment right there. First and second, nobody out, you can't cash in. And those were the Yankees' last hits of the game, because they did not get a single hit after that. Nothing. Top of the sixth, Tigers didn't get anything. Bottom of the sixth, Yankees, nothing. Judge goes down on strikes. Once again, complaints with the home plate umpire. Bellinger grounds out, and then Ben Rice strikes out. So now Fernando Cruz comes into the game. Fernando Cruz has been very good, but he just did not have it. Didn't have it. Gives up a double right away to Riley Green. Walks Spencer Torkelson. Walks Perez. And at that point, you're saying, yeah, this is going to unravel, isn't it? And it did. Parker Meadows, RBI single to make it 3-2. Then Dylan Dingler ends up walking. Still nobody out. So now they put in Mark Leiter Jr. Aaron Boone brings in Mark Leiter Jr. to face Trey Sweeney. He ends up singling, driving in a run. Then there's a hit by pitch. Cole Keith. Hit by pitch. Gleyber Torres, next man up. He ends up walking. Then there's a wild pitch. Now it's 8-2. And then Kerry Carpenter hits a 2-run triple to make it 10-2. And then they decide to put in Tim Hill. And he's able to get out of it. They do give up another run. Perez hit a ground out They couldn't. I think they tried to turn double play. They couldn't do it. But they got out of the inning, and it was 11-2 at that point. And the game's over. Everybody's leaving. We stayed the rest of the way, but that was rough. So, Fernando Cruz and Mark Leiter Jr. Both of them didn't record a single out. Combined, they gave up 4 hits, 9 earned runs, 4 walks, a hit by pitch, and a wild pitch. And, the point was brought up. You got, some lefties coming up. You're towards the bottom of the order. Why are you not bringing in Tim Hill to get out of it instead of Mark Leiter Jr.? And Mark Leiter Jr., the very first pitch he threw, it skipped to the catcher. He just had no command. They both didn't have command. Him and Fernando Cruz, they both had 0 command. And they didn't bring in Tim Hill. Well, I think Boone's explanation after the game was they wanted to get Leiter, in the game because he hadn't pitched. Tim Hill hasn't really pitched either. He hasn't. I don't know when. Remember the last time he pitched? I think it was August 27th. Somebody said. That was a long time ago. I don't know if it was that. Because I remember he gave up. Because when was the White Sox series? When was the White Sox series? The White Sox series. That happened. Yeah, I don't think it was August 27th. No. There was the 31st. Because he gave up the home run in the bottom of the 8th inning. So there's August 31st. I don't think he pitched in any of the. He didn't pitch in any of the Astros games. Yeah, the first Astros game, no, it was Fried and Blackburn. Then there was Wednesday, September 3rd. Yeah, no, didn't pitch in that game either. Thursday, did he pitch in that game when the Yankees won? No, I have to go back and remember. 7-1 against the Blue Jays. I don't know why they would put him in this game. No, didn't pitch in that game. That was Leiter pitched in that game. Luis Gil was on the mound for the Yankees against the Blue Jays. Nope. That was Weaver, Cruz, and Bednar. And then Sunday. No. So he hasn't pitched since that game against the White Sox, August 31st. So why is he not in? I get it. I get it. He's not good against righties. There was a righty he would have to face. There was a bunch of lefties. You could have put him out there. And Tim Hill has guts. Tim Hill can work out of jams. He's done it before. And his numbers with the bases loaded were very good. Right? I forget what that stat was, but he's very good in those type of situations. Why don't you put him in? And I guarantee you, you put him in that game instead of Mark Leiter Jr., I mean, yeah, the damage, I mean, there would have definitely been some damage. There would have been runs that had come across, but you wouldn't have lost the game 12-2 last night. I mean, it really didn't matter because the way the Yankees were hitting, they weren't going to get anything done. But Tim Hill should have been the move there. So I kind of do question Boone's decision there, putting in Leiter instead of Tim Hill. But obviously, there was definitely something that they liked. That there was a lane to put in Leiter, as they like to say. But I mean, the bases were loaded. The lanes were clogged up. The bases were loaded. So yeah, that was a disaster. And the Yankees just, I mean, they went down quietly. There was no fight. I mean, you're down 11-2. I mean, then the Tigers scratched across another run. I think in the top of the 9th inning. Or actually, no, I think it was the 8th inning. It was the 8th inning. And it just, the Yankees went down quietly. There was no fight. The guys are striking out. We saw Austin Slater come into the game last night for Aaron Judge, and he went down on 3 pitches. Very quick at bat. And you know what? This looked like this was going to be a good game for the Yankees because the Blue Jays, we were keeping up with the score. Speaking of the Blue Jays, they were losing to the Astros the entire game. And then they come back in the 9th inning, a 2-run single by Kiner Falefa. And then they went in extra innings on a fielder's choice. Astros are trying to throw out the runner at home plate. He ends up being safe. Blue Jays win, and now the Yankees are 3 games back in the division. And Buck Martinez called the Yankees, they're not saying they were a bad team. Well, he didn't say they were a bad team. He said they're not a good team. He said they're not a good team. They make a lot of mistakes, base running um, and fielding, make a lot of errors. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Very strong comments. He said he doesn't care what the record is. And that's why, a couple weeks ago I finally said, yeah, the Yankees are fraudulent. But I mean, I would say, I mean, the Yankees just won a series against the Blue Jays. They won 2 out of 3, and then they won 2 out of 3 in Houston. I mean, you got to take that into account, right? I know that against the Blue Jays, their record is not good this year, but they won both series in the Bronx, and they didn't win in Toronto. So what does that say? But this was not a way to get off to a good start. This was horrible. This was horrible. It was one bad inning, and it's not like the Tigers pounded the baseball. I mean, they finally did on the Kerry Carpenter triple, but you had a double, you had 4 walks, a hit by pitch, and 2 singles. It's just the Yankees pitchers couldn't find the strike zone. And the bottom of the order last night, I think I have it. I think Max Goodman sent out a tweet. So in their last 2 games, Ryan McMahon and Anthony Volpe, the bottom of the order, 0 for 12 with 11 strikeouts and 1 popped up sac bunt. Are you kidding me? That's the bottom of the order for the New York Yankees? And I was hoping, like, McMahon looked like he was starting to swing the bat better, but he really does strike out a lot. Now, at least he does make up for it because his defense is very good. Very good. He could really pick it over at third base. But I got to have better results with the bat. I'm sorry. The left side of the infield has to be better offensively for the New York Yankees, and it's not. And also, Volpe had a tough play during that whole debacle in the 7th inning where, I mean, the infield was in, and then there was a pop-up to center field, and he has to come all the way out. I think it was the angle he took on it. That's why it looked like it was a very tough catch. But it ended up dropping in, scoring a run. So, yeah, it was a rough night for Anthony Volpe. It was. And Boone talked about, maybe wanting to sit him prior to this game last night. That probably would have been the right choice. I mean, we'll see if he's in the lineup tonight, but that was a rough game for Volpe. And he really heard it from the fans last night, being there at the game. It's just not good. It's not good. I mean, they sit him, they try to, get his mind right, and then they trot him back out there, and it's just they're not getting results. They're not. It's not working. It's not working. The Yankees are really going to have to assess the shortstop position in the offseason because they can't go out next year with Anthony Volpe as a starter. Like Jose Caballero, I love him as a utility guy, but as the starting shortstop next year, I don't know if I like that either. The Yankees are really going to have to, that's going to be something they're going to have to address. And listen, third base, look, Ryan McMahon could really pick it, and Yankees have him under contract, under control, but I can't have you can't have a third baseman with the numbers that he has right now. Now maybe you give him more of a runway next year because now you're more acclimated to your new team. I mean, we'll see what he does in the postseason. I mean, it's might be a quick stint in the postseason because I just don't think the Yankees are going to go very far this year. But yeah, they're going to have to figure out the left side of the infield. The right side with Ben Rice and Jazz Chisholm next year, like that's set. But the left side, you're going to have to figure it out. And even the outfield. I mean, with Bellinger and Grisham, I mean, you're going to bring both of them back? You're going to bring one of them back? I mean, Grisham really has played himself into the conversation of it. Yeah, I think the Yankees are going to have to bring him back. Because do you want Jason Dominguez playing the outfield every day next year with how shaky he's been? With Bellinger in left, Grisham in center, Judge in right. I mean, that is a great outfield defensively. And Grisham has 30 home runs. So that's another thing. The Yankees got a lot of questions going into the offseason. I will say, though, the starting rotation is one of those questions that you don't have to. They have answers for. The bullpen is shaky. Like, it's funny how I say the Yankees found their formula. Well, the formula didn't work last night. The first part of the formula crumbled. And that's going to happen. And that's what you got to worry about, is not everybody's going to be on every single night. Like, there could be one crack in the armor, and then you end up losing a game. And last night, I mean, it was more than just a crack because of the inning that Fernando Cruz had, and then Mark Leiter Jr. didn't do anything to help it. But that's a concern, and especially when you go up against teams like the Tigers, like the Astros, who gave the Yankees bullpen problems. The Blue Jays have given the Yankees bullpen problems this year. The Red Sox. These are the teams you're going to be going up against in the playoffs. So you're going to have to straighten that out. And the Yankees were doing well in this stretch. 4-2 going into last night. And again, the vibes were good. They were up 2-0. But then everything started to fall apart after the Parker Meadows home run. Like, I'm not going to get on Will Warren. You know, he pitched a very good game. He just made one mistake. You know, that was on the bullpen. That was on the manager for the bullpen decisions. And also the offense just didn't come to play last night. I mean, 4 hits. 2 of them were solo home runs, and then you had 2 singles. And that was it. Nobody else did anything. Stanton struck out. I mean, how many strikeouts did the Yankees finish with last night? Because they struck out a lot. They struck out 12 times. This team strikes out so much. And that's only going to happen more in the playoffs when you face against these good pitchers. And the Tigers had 9 hits. You know, it's not like they had like 20 hits in this game. They only had 9 hits. And the Yankees pitching, 7 walks. That's another thing that's really hurt them, is the walks. And it really hurt them last night. So, yeah, I mean, look, there were some good things from this game. You know, the Judge homer, Grisham, you know, with the great play, the Gleyber Torres tribute video, you know, Anthony Rizzo being at the game. There was good things. You know, and that was the first time I actually went to the Hard Rock Cafe at the stadium. Got a very good burger over there. So yeah, I mean, it was a good night. It's just the Yankees in the 7th inning, they really faltered. Their pitching could not get it done. And now they're 3 games behind the Blue Jays in the division. So that's why you know, I started to inch back towards, okay, maybe, you know, I'm going to buy in. But last night, now, I've taken a massive step back in doing so. Because it's games like that remind us that this team, I just don't think this team has it. Tigers are a very good team. They got good pitching. You know, they got some good players in that lineup. You know, they got potentially the Cy Young Award winner in Tariq Skubal. I think if the Yankees saw the Tigers in a series, you know, when you see Skubal twice, I don't like their chances. I don't. And I do worry about that bullpen. I do. I like I said, they found the formula, but you know, if the bullpen's going to have games like this, you do have to worry about it. So, because anything can happen on any given night. And they only had 4 hits. 4 hits, 2 solo homers and 2 singles. That's it. That's all they got. And you could see that in the postseason. So, Yankees are going to have to turn the page quickly. It's Jack Flaherty, who the Yankees have seen plenty of times, you know, between last year in the World Series. And they saw him earlier this year, I believe, against Carlos Rodon, who's got 16 wins on the year. So, you know what? The Yankees could bounce back at the win tonight. I mean, Flaherty hasn't had a great year. He's 7-13 with almost a 5 ERA. So, you know, we'll see what happens there. And then they got Cam Schlittler tomorrow. Yeah, Tigers still haven't listed a starter yet. I don't know if it's going to be Skubal or not. We'll see. But, yeah. Let's see. If the Yankees could take these next 2 games, then, you know, then all will be good. Then you really got to see what they do against the Red Sox. But this was not a good start, especially being there. And also, like, the vibes were good, don't get me wrong. But I don't know. I felt like at times the atmosphere where I was sitting, because we were in like the 200s, I didn't hear a single "Let's Go Yankees" chant like the entire game. Even when the Yankees were doing good, I didn't hear any "Let's Go Yankees" chants. And once again, people come and they got to take pictures, and just they're taking pictures on the stairs, leading to seats, and you got like a line of people waiting to go around them to get to their seats while these photo shoots are going on. It's just and then you're also getting in the way of people that are trying to watch the game because you got to take pictures. It's just that's just how it is now. And then on top of that, I mean the sound effects after every pitch, almost every pitch, that I can't stand either. I don't know where that changed. I really don't. I don't like that either. All right, like I don't need a music cue after every pitch. Like the Oregon stuff, I get it. But just it is what it is. That's just me yelling at a cloud. But it's just I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But it's something else that I was observing last night, saying what's going on here. But yeah, more photo shoots, of course. Because everybody's got to take a picture of them being at Yankee Stadium. Listen, I mean, the Yankee Stadium's nice, but it would make more sense if you were taking pictures at the old stadium, which doesn't exist anymore. Because that was really as people say, the cathedral of baseball. But this stadium, I mean, it's not that. It's not that. That's not where Yogi played. That's not where Babe Ruth played. You know, but I mean, again, it's a nice stadium. They won a championship in it. There's been some iconic moments, in that stadium. But it's not. It's not what the old stadium. It does not hold a candle to what the old stadium was. It doesn't. Doesn't. So, but yeah, more of that from last night. But anyways, everybody, yeah. So rough night for the Yankees last night. I mean, on all fronts. They're just gonna have to turn the page. Try to get it done today. So as always, everybody, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the video and to the channel. And also follow us on the social media platforms down below in the description. And wherever you get your podcasts, you can also listen to us as well. Look up Infinite Sports. Find us there. And as always, I'm your host, Kenneth Grunfelder, signing off. Have a good one. Talk to you guys next time. Take care.